Sounds painful. It sounds not good. Okay.
They're very small seats.
Welcome back to the AMHQ Weekend. It's Saturday, June the 27th. I'm Kait Parker. We got Mark Elliott in from Reynolds Wolf today. Dr. Postal joining us as well, per usual. We've got this flood, and it's time to grab the Netflix, set it up on your iPad while you've got the Weather Channel on in the background, anywhere in this area, because that's where the flood threat is, and just stay put at home. You know, maybe watch some Game of Thrones while you're watching us in the background to keep you safe.
And you know what else will accompany, I think, some of those rains? The chance for severe weather, really from the mid-Atlantic down to the south. Nah, we'll see if there's a tornado risk. We'll talk about that coming up in a little bit.
Yeah, and a different type of severe weather out west, where it's going to be dangerous, if not deadly heat. 35 degrees above average in early summer means it is really warm out there.
Yeah. Right, dangerously hot. Let's take a look going on today. So you'll notice we've got a couple clouds for the first half of the day, but it stays mostly dry. By the time you get past lunchtime and into dinner time, that's when the showers move in. And look at the temperatures too, going to be in the 60s, even some thunderstorms possible later on today. So we could see a flood risk in addition to that. All right, take a look at this, what we're talking about. There's the flood watch. That's why we have this up. This area really getting soaked. West Virginia all the way to Burlington, Vermont. This is the spot where we're going to see soaking rainfall, not just a little bit of a rain at a time. We're going to see this relentless activity right here along the warm front. This is what we're looking at. See it? All these showers that are very slowly tracking across the Delmarva up into the lakes. We're seeing a lot of that rainfall, and the heavier amounts going to focus their way a little farther to the east. A few thunderstorms as well embedded within that by the time we get later into the evening. Into the afternoon, not so much a severe threat, but after that point, that's where we do get the right dynamics in place. So we could see a couple of those thunderstorms turn strong or even severe. We could see damaging winds. We could see some hail. We could see an isolated tornado. So tonight, through the overnight, we need you to be on your toes. You got to make sure you have something to wake you up, whether it's a phone app or your weather radio, whatever it may be. You need to have something that'll wake you up, especially if you lose power as well, because you can't have us on all the time. If you lose power, you can't turn on the Weather Channel. So we've got to have a backup plan. Tomorrow, look at the rain. Moves all the way up 95. Down East Maine is a soaker tomorrow. Most of upstate New York, you're going to get soaked as well. This just torrential downpour that is beneficial considering that you have some drought conditions in the Northeast. So all that rain that's been across the southern plains making its way that direction. Still to come, 3 to 5 inches easily we could pick up in portions of Pennsylvania, especially outside of Pittsburgh. That's going to be one of those wet spots. Here's the drought I was talking about. Moderate drought for a lot of Massachusetts, all the way into Albany. We've got that moderate drought. It's abnormally dry elsewhere. So this rain, if we get enough of it, and that's that slow and steady that can be absorbed into the soil and not fast and hard where we get the flash flooding, we could see some improvement on that drought monitor. We could see those numbers go down. So New York, today, it's this afternoon. Tonight, you've got the thunderstorms. And then tomorrow morning, for your Sunday morning brunch plans, you could be seeing thunderstorms. Say it ain't so. The same goes for Pittsburgh. I mean, come on. Rain tomorrow as you're trying to head off to church or whatever your activities may be, going to be on the wet side. And cool as well in the 60s, Mark. It's going to feel a lot more like fall.
Yeah, a fall-time storm here in the Pittsburgh area. Pittsburgh, one of...
Hopefully nothing will happen, but we'll stay tuned to weather.
Out there.
Yeah.
In Hawaii.
Yeah.
Out there on that island by himself.
Let's now talk like an expert, because you and I like to do that a lot, and it's a good thing to do. You learn something, and you can impress people along the way. You never know. And I think the most important part about this segment is that, you know, you gain something out of it, right? Everybody wins.
Everybody wins.
Talk like an expert. So what is the topic of the day? The topic of the day is, ready?
Outflow boundary.
Outflow boundary. Gosh, we throw that word or those words around a lot here at the Weather Channel. Dr. Forbes does, I do, you do. Whenever we look at thunderstorms, especially during the warm season, we often look for these features on the weather map. So let's show you what
is an outflow boundary, though?
What it look like, and let me show you on a map. Actually on a radar. This is just a generic picture. This is not from yesterday or the day before. But the idea is that you've got your line of thunderstorms right about here. We've seen those on the radar charts all the time. Those areas of red, those lines of red, big storms. And oftentimes we see like a little area of blue out ahead of that. Now, what does that represent? Well, that represents the leading edge of some cooler air that has come out away from the thunderstorm and moved out ahead of it. It's called a gust front. Outflow boundary, gust front, they're kind of synonymous. So let's look at sort of a generic picture of what it does or what it looks like with a thunderstorm in the background. We've got that rain-cooled downdraft, right, coming down like that. That's the cool air, Kate, and here's the warm air coming on the other side to meet it. And that interface right in here That's the gust front or the outflow boundary. Sometimes they can propagate away pretty far from the thunderstorms, and it does have important consequences for what can happen later on the day. So it's a good idea to keep track of these boundaries, and here's why. For example, this past Wednesday, we had a cluster of thunderstorms in the morning here, and later on in the day, a gust front moved out away from it, and I'll tell you what happened then, coming right up after the break, so stay tuned.